Hi Kate, this is my shorter video. The one I did before went on for over an hour. It started well. I think it's. Hey Kate, hope you're well. Sorry yesterday was tough. I was consumed in making my book. It was my deadline I had to do, because for me, Sienna's birthday is a really powerful day. And yeah. So anyway, okay, that was the introduction to the longer video, which you'll find at angeltheory slash dot sorry angeltheory.org slash video 39b. Sorry, so it's angeltheory.org slash video slash 39b. Okay, and this, in fact, this is this video. If you want to see the longer video, go to 39a. Okay. I've already used a minute and I gave myself a 20-minute limit for this. So let's get into some details. Okay, Cait's marketing. Okay, when you get an inquiry from your own efforts, which is what you said earlier, which would be great every time. For my part, in brackets S World Villa Secrets or S World Experience Africa, we take 12.5% of the commission, which is about 2.5% of turnover, 2.5% of the villa or safari booking, which is a low rate, which is cool. Okay, and for now, as we don't have another way to do the banking and the admin, because I don't have a SA bank account, we would need to include Ryan and Olly's company. And I would try to say to them, look, if you're only doing the admin, 12.5%. But they may only want to do it 25. So if you make your own booking, i.e. find your client and book their stay and provide the hospitality, you would keep a little bit over 75% of the commission. Which is, obviously better than 50%, and obviously a hell of a lot better than the old Cait Villas 15 to 20% commission, 75% in place of 15 to 20. Okay, the idea of this is to make it's just so easy to do bookings this way. You don't mind losing the 25%, so everything's good. Obviously this system is not built with you in mind, it's built with everybody in mind, and we're going to work out the kinks. Anything you think, oh, what about this, what about that, tell me, let me know. Okay, so if you find the client, book their stay and provide the hospitality, 75% of the commission. If you work with Ryan, he finds the villa, for instance, 50%. Or if you become very busy with Experience Africa or Villa Secret CEO or president duties, and through your work an inquiry comes in and Ryan and Olly do the booking, you would get 25% of the booking that they made that had come from your previous efforts. Okay. So, point number 2, Villa Secrets Scenario 8, specialised in scale network, including Villa Secrets, Cait Villas, and others. For maybe one of either, basically this plan, let's just have a little look at it. So, on the Villa Secrets website, villasecrets.com, click the network at the top, you see here. And we come to this. This is my business plan that I made in 2017 that was 300 pages long. And it's still pretty good. I mean, I don't think there's anything here that no longer works. But I am now on scenario 8, which is 2019, which includes the ideas of scale, i.e. how this small company that we're talking about can scale up in different locations or different specializations within a location, i.e. one could find somebody who specialized in film locations, one could find someone who specialized in Clifton locations, one could find someone who specialized in super luxury, someone, you know, la-di-da, la-di-da. You end up with a network of people who are all self motivated because they're equity owners, and because there's an expert in everything. Maybe, you know, there's someone who speaks German, there's someone who does the late shift with the USA and stays on live chat with USA, which seems to work. This is what I call scenario 8, and it is found, well, there's a little bit of it. No, we're coming back to this page later. There's a little bit of it in the new book, but really it's book 2. No, sorry, it's book 1. Yeah, book 1, the what. And here we see it, Villa Secrets, Microeconomics, and the business plan, and it's really very pictorial at the moment. Note we're going to come back to Warren Buffett in a little while. So it's very much a pictorial presentation, and this is, you know, going to be part of a book that they open, part of free, etc., etc. Software, la-di-da, la-di-da, Experience Africa. Okay, it's also the business plan part is in book 2, but I don't want to get too into that for now, other than to say that big business plan that I've got there that can be presented in very, very easy fashion, i.e. look at the pictures in the book. CEIF.'s a very good option because they've got a lot of good agents, and ideally we're not looking at CEIF, we're looking at CEIF and all its agents, or CEIF and its best agents. Lance Cohen, for example, Paula. There's a lot. Okay. So CEIF's a definite, because CEIF were interested in 2009. We didn't do a deal because of a dispute about a booking made by Simone's sister, and then Simone went and worked for them, and like. But anyway, I still think they would be very interested in the plan that I have. Sotheby's, I think also, although Sotheby's are not as strong as CEIF, Dogan Groups has always been high up on my list. That's now pretty much owned by Sol Derman and his brother, who obviously, you know, you invited me to their party. I don't know what they think of me. If they don't really know me at all, then it's a good idea to present this to them. Okay, Pam Golding, another good option. Obviously, you know Janine. I know Janine's a bit upset because of the tax in Cait Villas, and yeah, that's a fuck up. But yeah, why would that stop her trying to make more money this way? Last one is Grief, and that's because they're in Constantia, but they are part of Christie's Real Estate, which is pretty much the biggest luxury real estate company in the world. So that's definitely someone I would like to start working with. When we make this deal, when I make this deal, when you make this deal, if we make this deal, you help me make this deal, I'll definitely ask for a certain amount of money per month for 10 months or a year, and that can go towards paying you and paying for the paying Vanith and paying Chrissy. I don't have many costs at all, which is a bonus, because the scale of this opportunity makes quite a lot of money, and that it doesn't cost much per month to run is a huge part of it. Okay, if we made this deal and you helped me make it with any of these, you would then own, I think, 12.5% equity in the company you helped set up. So let's say, for instance, let's just move Cait Villas to the side a bit, because that's a different scenario. Cait Villas is a company that's I'm happy to let people manage. I'm not necessarily happy to them to own right now. So if we just instead look at, where is it? Here it is. This company website set up. It still needs a little bit of love and care in the presentation, and I've got to change these pictures. So really, this is a copy of Cait Villas that was itself a copy of Villa Secrets that ironically was originally a copy of Cait Villas. So it's turned from Cait Villas into Cape Town Luxury Villas, then into Villa Secrets, then back into Cait Villas, and then back to Cape Luxury Villas, a new website. And I want to change all of these things on the homepage because they're exactly the same as Cait Villas. The great thing about the CMS now is we can change the homepage. We can change all these images. We can change all this text easily. Okay, so this is the site we'll be trying to find an owner for, and if we get one of these 5 a strong response from any one of them, yep, that site can go to them. They can have management over Cait Villas, or they can buy Cait Villas. If they want to buy a percentage of Cait Villas, they can. The trouble is, at the moment, it's not really worth much because its track record for the last couple of years isn't good, and most people value a company by what it's made. So valuing Cait Villas right now would be an undervaluation. It would probably be, 1 million, 1.5 million, whereas I really wouldn't want less than about 4, because I think with some love and care, it could do well. It's such a short name. It's so well known. But anyway, my first priority, or it's not my first priority, this is one opportunity here, is to get to one of these estate agents as soon as I have my book finished, book 3, maybe even before, maybe just a dedicated video. So the idea there is they would create a new company. Say for instance, and I'm repeating myself, but say for instance, Cait Luxury Villas. Okay, you would own 12.5% of that. The opportunity to make many websites. Okay, the thing about this and Seif, let's just use Seif as an example, is we can make 10 different websites like this, like, just changing the homepage a little bit, etc. So 10 agents at Seif could have their own website, and the first thing they do on their own website is put the people, the villas that they have mandates or they work closely with on their own websites. They then start doing their own marketing in exactly the same way that you came to me earlier. Say, look, if I manage to find clients, I use Cait Villas to make the bookings. That's exactly what we want from all the agents, all the top agents at Seif. Or if we went with Pam Golding, the top agents in Pam Golding. And this could end up as 250 different websites for 250 different agents at Pam Golding. I know I had gone through a period of LinkedIn in adding Pam Golding members, and I've got about 200 of them. So the idea is every time one of these websites from any one of the agents, whenever that makes a booking, you would get a paid 12.5% or whatever it would be. You also have the opportunity to answer that booking made by that company. Let's say it's Lance Cohen. Lance books about 10 villas that he knows very well, sort of gets mandates on them. Then he gets inquiries come through the websites. He doesn't have time to answer them straight away, and he's not a specialist in villa rentals anyway. So he doesn't get involved in that. That would go straight to the collective, which is basically us. So there you would have the opportunity to answer and deal with that inquiry come from essentially Cait Villas, Villa Secrets. It doesn't really matter where it comes from. comes to the central pool, you would get the opportunity to answer that inquiry. And when you make the website, say we made a website for Janine, you would get paid every time she makes money out of that. And that's what's known as scale. Instead of thinking about making 1 or 2 bookings for this, make about 20, 30, maybe 100 different companies and take a 6.25 or 12.5% from each. Makes a lot more money than just working on one. Okay. Opportunity to do the bookings and make the commissions. Yep, that's what I just talked about. Plus mandate opportunities. Yeah, if Janine were to get a mandate, that mandate was to make money because you introduced Janine, and Janine has a Bill of Secrets or Bill of Secrets website, and you own a part of that, then you get paid every time she gets paid. Okay. Number 3, make exclusive use Safari, Private Island, and leading Villa Africa websites for companies like villa companies for Knox rentals. They would definitely benefit from a Safari website. With 250 mandates, they must have a lot of people, not a huge amount, but certainly some. This is how I made money for the whole of the South African winter. With one Safari booking, made $20,000. It's easy enough to do using the system that I did, which was some research first of all, and then I just basically worked with Wilderness, because Wilderness are happy to. They generally get about a 30% STO, and they take, I think it's 9%, and then 21% goes to the person who's making the booking with them, i.e. me and Cait Villas in March this year. The great thing about Wilderness is they will work with they would work with suggestions that I gave them. I said to them, look, I want to do Shipwreck Lodge in Namibia. It's not a company that they are affiliated with. It's not a company they have on their website, but they're perfectly happy to book it for us, which is great. It takes away the complexity, a little bit of the complexity. One still has to be very, very much on top of it and follow the system that I have worked out so far. And I'm very interested to hear about what is it? You mentioned it earlier. Where I can't get it. Okay, 1 second. Bookmark, Experience Africa. That's it, Travel Logic. Yeah, interested to know what this gives you. I would imagine to get a login, we would need to have travel insurance, financial failure insurance, which is that in South Africa it's pretty easy, but you need a company. It doesn't really cost anything, but you need a company for it to be attached to. Anyway, where was I? Yeah, okay, so Safari companies, Safari websites, private islands, etc. And just at the moment, this is the Experience Africa homepage. This is going to be turned into a subdomain, and this framework will be there, and we've probably got about 70 good properties so far. Maybe more, certainly enough. So this is the sort of Safari site we can make for Knox Rentals or for any villa rental company. Um, Obviously, Knox Rentals makes sense because they have so many bookings that some of them are probably going to want to have a safari. But in residence makes a lot of sense because they manage all the top villas, the 100,000 rands and night villas. If we could do a deal with these guys, that would be fantastic to do their so whenever they get a booking, before they get it, they ask if someone wants a safari as well. They put some safaris on their websites. They would find clients safaris. So a safari website would be good for them, and that's exactly the sort of thing you trade off. They have people who would want to book safaris. Adding safaris is a good service for them to add. The website's a nice touch, dedicated their own, so they have a good feeling of belonging. The bookings are going to start to come. If they're getting bookings for Stefan Anthony villas at 100,000 a night, some of those clients are going to want safaris, and we have all the safaris for them. Okay. So there we go, in residence. Private islands like North Island and Cuisine Island. I spoke to managers of both of those. Well, actually, the manager and the reservation girl at the second. They were very keen. We just didn't have the technology. This is 2 or 3 years ago. Charter companies like Fed Air. They do most of the charters there. Singita. They work with Wilderness. It's their well, Wilderness actually have their own airline, but they don't do. They don't do all the places that Fed Air do. Anyway, Fed Air wanted a safaris company, a safaris website, so as they could sell safaris to the people who are flying with them. That's great. It might be a conflict of interest. Maybe other safari companies won't give them the air travel if they're competing in that, and things like that are going to turn up. But in general, there's so many opportunities. All we need is 1 or 2 to work, and then it snowballs. Okay, Cape Town companies come to Cape Town. James Woolley's a good idea there. He's very on the ball. Safaris, Singita would be the ultimate because Singita have 5 or 6 villas of their own, and they're becoming quite a niche specialist in villas. So obviously, if we can get Singita to say, "Yeah, we'll make us a website and we'll use that website whenever we come to Cape Town," that would be awesome. Why would they? Here's the question. Singita, they're so massive. They don't really do that at the moment, and there's probably a reason for it, However, the books that I'm creating eventually are in part to be given to Singita's owner, and because of the conservation side of things, which you would have to go through the books, we'll touch it very, very quickly in a little while. Because of the conservation side of things, Luke Bales might want to get involved, and exactly the same for Ulusaba. I'm not expecting Ulusaba to suddenly turn around and say, "Yeah, we'll book Cape Town villas, make us a website, etc., etc." But if it comes from the angle of of S World, to Richard Branson potentially, and then doing a deal with Ulusaba, that would be great. And then of course there's deals to be done with Virgin, etc., etc. Okay, another lot of opportunities are destination management companies, which is basically what Wilderness and Beyond are, sort of. Yeah, Wilderness would be great if they booked villas through us and we made them a villa website. Also, I know, because I've been working on this, that Efodia and Roberto would be able to do their job a lot better if they had a website that had everything that they could offer on, which they don't at the moment. They only have websites showing their own places, or in some cases affiliates. They don't have the capacity to show somebody 10 different places on one website, and it's all, you know, that's what they can do with us. That's why Wilderness would want to work with us, because we're providing systems that they don't have. And beyond that, there's quite a lot of other systems, but we're not going to talk about systems because there's a lot of stuff in the books. Anyway, okay. Okay, we got point 4. What is point 4? Make Cape Town and Africa Villa websites for. Okay, all of the above. The above was, the idea was make exclusive use private island and African villas. This one is make Cape Town and Africa Villa websites. So basically, everything that's on Cape Villas and everything that's on Experience Africa, when Experience Africa is done, comes into can be used for all of the above. Can include Rhino Africa and other South African safari companies, of which there are many. For example, your current and previous employers both would benefit from villa websites and safari websites. However, we're not going to start there. We're going to start with the bigger fish, and I don't think you would want to interrupt your employees, ex-employees. Anyway, I don't know. Let me just carry on. International travel agencies. There's a load of those. I've made a contact with a few in England. Luxury property portfolios like Virgin Limited Edition. International villa companies like Luxury Retreats, who is high on my list. They are owned by Airbnb. Okay. Okay, we're going to go talk about something different now, and this is the equity model. It's called the POP equity model, but I won't get into that other than to say POP is financial gravity. Yeah, okay. Moving swiftly on. In general, you would get 25% of equity in companies you create. Another 25% is for whoever is the main doer or go-getter at the company, and 50% is given to the company or its C-suite staff. So, for example, at Wilderness, you would get 25%. Maybe Roberto gets 25%, and Wilderness CEO or company gets 50%. For example, at Knox, you would get 25%. 25% would go to somebody, probably your friend, that begins with a T. I can't remember her name. Is it Tamara? Anyway, she might get 25%. 50% goes to Richard and the company. For example, at North Island, you would get 25%, and the MD would get 25%, and the owner would get 50%. For example, if Janine gets permission to represent Pam Golding, you would get 25%, Janine would get 25%, Angel Golding would get 50%. For example, if Sol agrees for Dogan Group, you would get 25%, Candice would get 25%. She's very nice, she's their main booking girl. Denise would get 25%, and maybe Sol would get 25%. That would make sense. Okay, that's that section. Present Super Economics Book 3 to Warren Buffett at Berkshire Hathaway and or Sotheby's Real Estate USA or Christie's Real Estate USA. Okay, the books. Super Economics Book 3, which is I sent you, which is the Why. 64 reasons why. I've stopped at this page because this page explains me personally what's why I've endeavored on this. And just to note, this plan is very long. Here's the index, and you can see starting in 2011, 2012, each one of these, and this is how many pages each part of the theory is. So you can see there's a lot. This plan is very, very detailed. I'm really only sketching over the parts that immediately work for us, i.e. can immediately make money as soon as possible, basically. Um, okay, so the whole lot, the entire business plan is 24,305 pages. It's just under 1,000,000 words. Um, and so my reason why for writing these 1,000,000 words I've put here. It's chapter 12, page 117 on book 3, 64 Reasons Why, which is the one I sent you, which is the most complete one. And if we go to part 5, which you go to bookmarks if you're in Word and just go to part 5. Here we come to what are called special projects. This is the philanthropic, ecological, social and scientific section. And basically it's taking account of the 9 planetary boundaries from SRC and the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, special projects. This is what half of all the money in the theory, the 24,000 page theory, does. These are all the projects it helps. Sienna's Forests is a particularly clever idea. It says that when one does a development, if one does a development that's, say, 100 acres, that 100 acres needs to make less carbon than it did before the development. And that can be done by attaching another 100 hectares or something, acres of forest, which creates more oxygen. So that's a balancing act. And yeah, obviously it's got our Sienna's name on it. There's only 2 things that have Sienna's name on it. This is it, Special Project 6, Sienna's Forests, and what I call the Sienna Equilibrium, which is how everything sort of works, how we manage to funnel 50% of all profits made by this potential future company. And let's just have a quick view side to side at these. Let's just do it a bit quicker, slower. These are all the different causes. This one is growth theory versus climate change. And the idea is how on earth can growth theory, i.e. building cities, building, be good for the climate, because it never is. And basically the pinnacle of all these books is what's called the res equation. And if that works, it means a big development could make a lot more money than normal, therefore it can make it in a way that is net zero, i.e. in ways that don't add carbon to the atmosphere. Okay, I'm just going to take a quick break for dinner and I'll be back in no time at all. Okay, hi, I've just had dinner and I've come back. Okay, so we were on the, I think the Warren Buffett, Berkshire Hathaway. Yeah, okay, so look, the entire book 3, The Why, is about the 64 special projects, which are 64 things that happen as a consequence of creating what I call a grand spin network. And that combined with the Villa Secrets plan, I think is something that will be of interest to Warren Buffett, who's obviously very famous and is very close with Bill and Melinda Gates and their foundation, which is the primary place I'm looking to get to. So yeah, as well as the Cape Town companies, there are these three international companies: Berkshire Hathaway, Sotheby's International, and Christie's. A deal with them so that every single one of their, or everyone that wants to join in of their companies in their network, which is a few hundred. If all of those started cross-selling the Villa website, sorry, if all of those followed the business plan scenario 7 and the business plan scenario 8, they would all do well. And Carl and Warren Buffett's the first person. Berkshire Hathaway is going to be the first person I approach on this. Yeah, the books that I have done are why he would want to. So it's a bit of a round robin. Okay, let's just continue. Okay, for the same reason, i.e. what is written in books 1, 2, and 3, for the same reason, albeit specializing in virtual world design. In fact, let's try and find it. Where? No, I can't find it off the bat. It is on the other video. Yeah, it's basically I have this idea to combine the Sims, SimCity, and Stefan Antony's company that does virtual reality into one easy-to-use system to create large-scale property developments, to create cities even. And I believe Stefan Antony will be interested in working with me because of that, and because of that we'll get a good in with certainly in residence, who manage most of his properties, but also in terms of Berkshire Hathaway and Sotheby's and Christie's, if there's a plan in place to make virtual versions of all the properties that is easy to use, that as simple as anybody could make, that's a good reason for Berkshire Hathaway, Sotheby's, and Christie's to want to work with me. So yeah, that's one of my objectives. One of my goal objectives is to work with one of those three, and the first one I'm approaching is Berkshire Hathaway, because of the 64 reasons why and their connection to the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. Okay, so here we have point number 8, and 64 reasons why Experience Africa is the reason why Special Project 1. I've shown you this already, but I would just quickly go to it again. And the note here is that it's Project 1 of the 64 is Experience Africa. So that's the note. Why? Because it was the first project I realized that could make money from, not from advertising, from ripple effects, from other systems, i.e., quite simply, if I develop Villa Secrets and then I make a version of Villa Secrets for Experience Africa that costs me basically nothing, I have created Experience Africa for without cost. If I then can scale up and cover 1,000 different agents across the world and basically split the money, half going to conservation, half going to the companies that made the money, plus started to work on systems for the safaris themselves and benefit if we can make safaris themselves more profitable, and give that money to conservation. That's a lot of money going to conservation. So that's why it's the first special project. The second special project is in general making the whatever we do ecological. The third is really about education, advancing human potential, my potential, your son's potential. It's a special project from don't do that, from the Chan Zuckerberg Initiative. It's their key phrase. Advanced cities of science, equality and the poverty gap, Siena's forest, we've spoken about earlier, global cooling, universal knowledge, Spartan contracts, that's jobs, 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 healthcare, an initiative in Africa to turn the whole Sahara Desert into a lush resort, and rainforest, their oceans, getting rid of the plastic, etc., etc. It sounds very nice. The real magic is in this SRES system, and how, because of the net zero NDA system, 50% of cash flow will eventually go to one or other of these projects. If one's making a huge amount of money, then that's a huge amount of money going towards these special projects. Okay. Why I made the book 64 Reasons Why. Page 117. I've shown you this already, but it's something I think you should read. My reason why, S World, Siena's World. This is why I wrote that book and why I've written the 24,000 pages, etc. Lastly, I'm just going to note that the costs that I need to cover monthly, as a minimum, is $1,500 for Beneath and $400 for Chrissy, the copywriter. Not a lot compared to the amount of money the companies I've mentioned make. We need to add whatever you need to that, and that would be, I would suggest we're better off splitting that into 4 different companies. Maybe, just take them at random. Dogan Group, In Residence, Knox Rentals, Wilderness. Of each of those 4, if they all chipped in 20,000 rands a month, that would be 80,000 rands a month. Half of that definitely covers my costs, and the other half would definitely cover your costs relative to your last job, which I think was 15, which obviously was less than one would like, but it gives an anchor. At the moment, we're all working for as little as we can until the money comes in. Yeah, I think if we try and target 4 specific companies, and each of them we try and get to put a contribution in towards your costs and my costs, and obviously as more websites gets made, more inquiries come in through the various people who are running them, and we take whatever our, well, my 12.5% and whatever your percentage is in whatever company. Just a note as we leave, and that is, where should we leave? Just leave it. And that is that this plan that I presented to you has been a plan long in the making, and I sort of made it for Bryn a little bit. Or Dean Bofer, or it's terrible pronunciation, so I Brota, I think. So that's why I've got it very organised. Why I pretty much know who I want to go with, how much I expect from them, and for each opportunity, have a good few backups. So if Wilderness says no, we go straight to And Beyond or Singita. That said, Wilderness is looking very good, because I did my big booking with them earlier in the year, and we've kept in touch all about the booking, talking to each other, every week in a very social way. And I think the idea of, I think I have a product that Wilderness would want, and I can get it to the CEO. So it's not like I'm jumping into what you're doing specifically. It's a coincidence. It's an opportunity that's come to both of us at the same time. I think I wrote it earlier in my first thoughts. This is today's. Yeah, that film, Collateral Beauty. The coincidence of it's a huge coincidence that the people that I was aiming for and the people who most like you are the same people. Du-du-du-du-du-du-du. You know, that sort of thing. But I certainly don't want to get in your way with wilderness. So don't think I'm trying to jump onto something that's, taking advantage. I'm not. It's a good thing for both of us, I think. And we can talk about that, but we should talk about this on the phone. But first of all, you got to get through these these videos, so you're up to speed. It's been a good thing for me to make these videos today because I'm now got my ideas about wilderness and all of these other companies much more solid at exactly the right time because I've been waiting till we get Experience Africa online before I go. There's a bit of work. We've got to get that homepage a little bit, something I'd like to work with you on. We've got to change the navigation offering a countries option. So people can come to the navigation, they choose their countries. Oh, I want to go to Namibia. Da, da, da. That we've got to build that in. But there's already a hell of a lot of properties on there. And the new system we have for adding properties is pretty easy. Ryan actually said it was very easy. He was complimentary on it. Okay, so I'm going to leave it here, and we're going to talk soon. Okay, cheers.